So a winning trade does not mean a good trade, right? Same thing with how a losing trade does not mean a bad trade. So, um, did I take a winning trade today? Yes. Did I take a good trade today? Also, yes. But the good trades I actually took, I lost on, and the winning trade that I took was also a good trade, but an increased size trade. Does that mean that it was good? Yes and no, right? Was I prepared to risk, I guess, as the kids say, risk it all? Yes. But should I have? No. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with my trading right now. So we're going to go over the trade first, and I'll kind of talk about why I need to start realizing a winning trade is not always a good trade, and a good trade is not always a winning trade. So, um, let's kind of go over the execution. So, looking back, this is on replay, right? I took my first trade at 828, one micro, right? So 828 here. So this candle right after this huge push up here, we took it right here. So again, kind of buying at the top. I always tend to do that. I wrote some rules for myself last night as these trades were playing out as to what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing. Right. So here we took a trade at the top. Of course, it didn't work out. We ended up adding quite a few because I was like, okay, cool, we're doing fine. We're bouncing off VWAP here. Add a couple more. Add a couple more. We just had this huge breakout, right? But I need to continuously remind myself that even though by nature, I'm a breakout trader, it doesn't mean that most breakouts work. In fact, most breakouts fail. I think it's about 70% of breakouts fail, right? So if I know that, I can wait for a while until we get into some really good support, right? Not support that's forming, but support that has already been formed. So end up taking these trades. I'm waiting and waiting. I'm hoping that we break. We don't break. We start heading lower, start forming these lower highs, just stair climbing down, right? And we get stopped out. So we get stopped out here at 9:26. So it's a long trade. I've been in this trade for an hour. Obviously, I'm frustrated, but I was like, no, like, you know what? We're gonna take another trade. This time, I ended up sizing in 5 contracts to start. I ended up putting 5 more on at 9:42. 9:42 is not a good place to add. Why is that? Even though it's at the top here, again, there's no volume. Maybe if we added here, it would have been okay, it would have been better, right? But there's no increase in volume, there's no hammer candle, you know? This initial trade initially happened because we got a little bit of a um buying climax, which is exactly what occurred, right? Huge red volume down here as you can see, right? After a prolonged period of selling, right? On support as well. Usually these are the types of trades that I would usually get whipsawed on because I would be thinking, oh, we're breaking out lower, we're confirming lower, but we never did. One of the things that really helped this trade out too is being on volume point of control here. So because we quickly reversed that huge sell with a green buy, again, it's not as high volume, but it does cover most of this candle. I was like, okay, cool. So I just immediately entered here. Maybe I could add here instead, right? But we're holding, and this takes a while. This takes a while. This is, again, this trade happens at 9:30. It doesn't confirm until 11:10. That's a long time. to be waiting for a trade, and I got very frustrated. I was waiting here for a while, but I believed in this trade because we're on support. We have all this support here. Stop loss goes below value area low and this pivot point down here. We got close to it a couple times, but we never fully hit it. We stayed on volume point of control for quite a while. We obviously have our zone right here too, holding everything up. But honestly, I really shouldn't be adding until this candle here. It saved me all the trouble. Now, or this candle here actually. I shouldn't be adding here until here, right? I really have to let volume tell me when to add. Let volume tell me when to get into a trade. There's very low volume, very choppy. We're ranging, right? But we actually played this one well. However, we added 10 contracts. So we added 10 contracts here. I love the patience here of adding, right? We could have added on this candle here, but we're like, nope, we're gonna wait. We added 10. So again, over leveraging. But it was a really good trade. We ended up closing our trade here, have a $200 day. We have, reset the balance to $2,000. So it's great. But again, like I said, a winning trade does not mean it's a good trade, right? I believe I did take good trades, but there are some rules that I've written out on my phone. So whoever is watching this, let me know if these are some good rules, right? I've written down a process for myself yesterday, and maybe I'll continue to tweak it, right? Maybe I'll continue to get better and add some more things to it. But this is my process right now. So first, I want to set my levels, right? So if I were trading, I would set my fixed range volume profile, right? Prior day levels start first, so point of control, value area high, value area low. Then set the current day levels, the current session. Determine the trend for the session, right? Because I've learned that I need to start trading the overall trend, right? I need to determine the overall trend of the market, which has been bullish as of late. So I should only be taking trades that are going up, right? Only buying. So only take trades in the direction of the trend, no reverse positions. Wait for the market to approach key levels and see how it reacts, right? If we're bullish, look for high volume off key areas, right? Either a hammer, I love hammers, or a full body green candle. If bearish, look for high volume off those same key areas, but a reverse hammer or full body red candle, right? So point of control seems to be one of the best places to buy off of, in order to continue to another key area, right? Such as a value area high or value area low. When taking position, make sure to have a clear stop loss and a clear target, right? These are pivot points, pivot areas. Um, Once you set your stop loss, don't change it. I should always leave it, right? So even if I add to my position, keep it. Unless we hit another key point, right? And we're still in the trade, we've taken some off, and we're still in trade, then you can move your stop loss up to break even, or then you can move your stop loss up to another pivot point that has been created as the trade has played out. When Make sure your target is a clear pivot point. Never buy near the top. Something I always fall into. I always buy near the top. Never sell near the bottom. I always do that as well. It's so frustrating that I continue to do that. Wait for a pullback where it breaks the consolidation zone lower. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that here we broke out. We're near the top, near the top. We had to break lower. So we did break lower here, right? But we need to really wait for a proper pullback near support area. So this was a clear support area here. And I honestly think maybe I should be waiting for it to settle at a key level, right? So here, this is not a settle at a key level. This is not a settle at a key level. This is a settle at a key level, right? So I probably need about 5 to 10 minutes of settling near a level here before you're like, okay, we're gonna pick a position, right? The quicker things go up, the quicker they'll come back down, right? So we always have to remember that. Stop FOMOing in. I always FOMO, right? If you look at my entries, you'll always see FOMO. I always tend to FOMO. I'm always jumping in when I see the candle popping up. We did do a good job waiting down here, but we always FOMOed in, right? We were a little bit more patient, but it's something that we just need to improve on and get better at. Another one is don't be scared of pullbacks. It takes a while for the market to reverse trend, just like an oil tanker. It takes a while. It takes a while, right? So we've been bullish this whole time, even though we are coming down in this immediate trend of being bearish. We are bullish overall, right? Let it actually tell you, like, okay, we are actually reversing trend. We are closing below these levels. We are pulling back and then continuing lower, right? And then I want to notice reversal signs such as climaxes, so buying and selling climaxes and like 2 bar reversals. And then there's no need to look at the trade the whole time. Set alerts and step away. I stare at that trade like crazy. It's one of the things that I just continuously do, right? So those are my rules. Those are my trades. Again, I'm struggling as of late, but again, like I said, a good trade does not always mean a winning trade. It is so hard for me to keep that in my mind because I'm just so used to wanting to win. I am so used to wanting to do well. I am so used to being competitive in my life, playing competitive basketball, and just being like, you need to win to be able to show something good, to be able to show a good process. But in trading, it works completely the opposite. You need to be able to understand that you took a good trade, you took your setup, you took your process, and you have to let it play out. But something I was talking to my girlfriend about last night was that this is a completely new process for me, right? How can I sit here and expect myself to be fully firm on what I need to do when this is a completely new process for me? I've been trading this way for I don't know how long. It hasn't been that long, maybe a week now, a few days. I can't even remember. So maybe about a week or so. How can I expect myself to be so proficient on what I need to do? I can't. There's no way. There's no way, right? So all of these months that I've been trading since November 2024 till now, November to February, I learned a certain way. I took a month off, just about like over a month, to learn a new way to trade. Came back end of March, early April, started trading another way. Ended up getting a payout that way, right? But then market conditions changed. That way no longer works. So now I'm refining my trading system again in order for it to work, right? So I can't be so hard on myself when I'm not taking like good trades, when I haven't fleshed out all of my rules, when I haven't fleshed out all of my system. But I can be mad at myself for risk management, poor risk management, over leveraging, right? Entering trades on random signals, right? Those are the things I can be upset about. But in terms of fleshing out my process, it's like it's still so new to me that I can't be so upset. However, I definitely can control what I need to do um, in order to manage my risk. So now I'm very grateful. The account balance is now going to be reset to $2,000 come in a few hours. Um, So we need to start risking lower. And it's something that I thought about and I really don't want to do just because of my competitive nature, my competitive mindset, but it is something that I must do. Now, look, I'm human. I'm gonna be dumb. I'm probably gonna over leverage, at some point, but I really need to make a concerted effort and saying, okay, we are risking maximum $100 on each trade, right? If the trade confirms in our direction, we can add up to $200, but then that's it. That's all we're risking, $200. That gives me about 10 trades maximum to make this thing work, you know? To be able to get a payout like this, to be able to say, okay, we know what we're doing, we know what we're risking, right? I can't be entering on 10 contracts, right? Risking $1,000 on a trade. So last night, again, I'm filming this. I'm about to post this right now, actually. But last night we were down about $270, right? So we made all of that back and then had a $220 day. So that's about $500 we made on that last trade, but it took 20 contracts, so essentially two big NQ contracts to get there. It's not smart to be able to trade like that. So we need to improve, we need to get better, but it takes time. I know it, but again, a good trade does not mean that you've won. I have to ingrain that in my mind. I have to embed that in my mind that it's okay to lose if you're taking good trades, right? Winning is cool, but winning on a good trade is even better, right? Winning on a bad trade will form bad habits, and then you're going to end up blowing your account and losing, right? Again, I've been so lucky and so grateful that I was literally a few nights ago $100 away from blowing this whole account, and now we're kind of back to even with 2 days left to a payout, right? We're back to even with a positive account balance. We're back to even with, an opportunity to be able to build good habits again. I'm so thankful and I'm so lucky, but we need to start doing that now. Otherwise, I'll come back, to this video and be like, what happened? You didn't do what you're supposed to do, right? If I take 10 trades in a row, risking $200, and we lose all 10 trades, but they're all good trades, how can I be upset? It's so hard. It's so difficult. But you shouldn't be upset, right? And that's the type of mentality I have to start building. So, anyway, guys, that's it for this video today. Just trying to do the best I can to manage my mental well-being, my physical well-being. Haven't really been feeling great as of late. Uh, I hope to continuously improve, continuously get better, and we'll get there for sure. Again, if I have 2 more days of $200 or more, I'm taking a payout. Doesn't matter how much. That means the account will probably be blown after that, soon after, but I don't care. It's about getting the money in the bank. Um, but the trading process should not be about money. It should be about doing the things that you need to do in order to be a consistently profitable trader. And right now, I'm not really doing it that well. So we have to embrace that. And, at some point, I'll talk about the topic of spying on the wise. Um, and we'll probably talk about that in another video coming up. But that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys are trading well. Hopefully, you guys are trading better than I am. And yeah, keep trading stoically.